schedule predictions.
Oh my gosh, I saw like the funniest Instagram reel. It was like, uh, I think it was Rich Eisen, and he was talking to this guy from Jersey who lives in Arizona now, and he like went through the Jet schedule, and he has us going 14-3.
Oh yeah, I watched that.
He's like, win,
Win,
win.
win.
Yeah, that day is gonna be a loss. Win.
Yeah.
In
He was from
Miami,
like he
we
was
win.
like from Bayonne or something like that.
Yeah,
Like
he's
from
from like
Bayonne.
Bayonne, New Jersey. It was hilarious. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Feast or Fumble. I am the real Kris Mac. I'm here with a couple of my friends, Mr. Chino, Patty Putz. How you guys doing?
Summer solstice. What do they call it? The summer solstice.
The summer solstice is here. We made it officially.
Hey.
Officially. Let's jump right into these topics. Summertime draft is coming. Free agency. Time to talk a little state of the Knicks. What are you guys feeling as far as what the team needs to do this offseason to become more competitive and possibly challenge in the East and potentially for an NBA title next season? Mr. Chino, what do you got?
Yeah, I'll kick us off. I think we could all agree that the biggest topic is what is OG gonna do? What are we gonna do with Randall? What are we gonna do with our pending free agents? I think the biggest thing for me that stands out, and I've said this before, is like we need OG. Like he has a huge impact on what we do on the offensive and defensive side of the floor. Statement I'll say is don't let him leave. Right? Do not let him leave the building. Pay this man. I know there's fear around his injuries and things of that nature, but as we saw, he got injured last year because of a hamstring, not because of the other injury. He played through that injury, and we knew that going into it. We knew that when he came back, the injury in his arm, it was going to be an injury, and there's nothing he could really do. He would have to play through it, but it wasn't really that much pain. So we got to sign him because defensively, he's a stud. I was looking at when he came to us, he played 802 minutes last season. His net rating was plus 21.7. During that time, our offensive and defensive ratings were number one in the league since he came to us. So just that's impact right there. That's the impact on both sides of the floor. We need that. We need that in our starting lineup. And without that, we're gonna have to find something, and I don't know what that is. So again, my thought is don't let OG leave. Pat, what do you think?
Yeah, Sean, I'm totally with you. The state of the Knicks right now, I believe, is to continue the roster development. We saw the Boston Celtics just win the NBA championship with a very, very deep roster. Everybody that they took off the bench made a significant impact. So I think the Knicks need to continue to do that and maybe follow the Celtics mold a little bit. Totally agree. The biggest thing is re-signing OG. The impact that he had on the floor was so obvious, and when he was out, we were really, really missing that piece. I want to re-sign Isaiah Hartenstein. I think he's a really, really important player for the Knicks. You see that him and Jalen Brunson play extremely well together, and they kind of thrive in those situations where he can run the floor and beat the other bigs down the court. Julius Randle back, he's going to help a ton. I'm thinking Mitch Robinson might get traded. You guys have probably been watching the news lately. Mitch is on the block, mostly because of his contract is a little fat. I would like to see a little bit more of an athletic big, maybe like a Derrick Jones Jr., Mason Plumlee, somebody that could run the floor a little bit better and maybe fit into that Isaiah Hartenstein role a little bit better than Mitch does right now, even though Mitch is a little bit better defensively. But, we got the draft coming up next week. I think one of the most important things is we need more big athletics and we need more 3 and Ds. You saw Hauser and Pritchard both had huge series in the NBA Finals. I think it's really, really important that we just continue to find those kind of players that can sit in that role and make a significant impact. impact. What do you got, Chris?
Yeah, I'm in agreement. I think we all think the first and foremost we need to re-sign OG. I mean, we traded away two very young prospects in RJ Barrett and Emmanuel Quigley to get OG, and just to let him walk after half a season doesn't make any sense. To your point, Sean, offensively and defensively, uh, one of the highest net ratings on the team, and you could just see it. It passed all the eye tests. I go back to like that 14-2 January where it was like full strength New York Knicks basketball. OG, Randall, Brunson. It was a sight. It was definitely a sight. We felt like we were the best team in the East during that stretch. Re-signing Isaiah Hartenstein is also should be a top priority. I think those should be like the two primary focus of the Knicks this offseason. Unfortunately, that means that Mitch is basically expendable at this point. He's been injured a lot the last two seasons. He gives you a lot as far as like a traditional down low presence where he's gonna defend the rim, pick up on deficiencies, when guys get beat. But he's not really giving you much offensively. What he's giving you is like put back dunks, which you can pretty much get from most centers nowadays in the league. So, unfortunately, last drafted Nick that has the longest tenure on this team. I remember when Mitch got drafted, but your service has been warranted, has been respected. But it's time we got rid of all of the guys that we drafted like from 2017 on. That RJ Quigley, Obi Toppin, and Mitch is the last. Kevin Knox. Yeah, Mitch is like the last surviving member of like all those old draft picks that we've had on our squad. So,
How dare you bring up Kevin Knox?
listen, you have to bring up Kevin Knox because we had the option. I think it was either like Kevin Knox or like Spider Mitchell, and we chose Kevin Knox. So
SGA.
yeah,
We put Knox over SGA.
yeah, it's terrible. It's terrible.
Terrible. Atrocious. Oh.
I mean, but listen, it's a new regime. We got Leon Worldwide up there. Like they're much more capable as far as like draft goes than previous front offices. So I have more faith in them now than previous picks. But yeah, I agree with like most of the sentiments. What do you think, Pat, is a target? You brought up Mitch being on the trade block. What do you think is a potential landing spot? And who do you think the Knicks should bring in maybe to fill in that backup center role?
So the few names that I mentioned are unrestricted free agents, Derek Jones Jr. and Mason Plumlee. Like I mentioned, I think it's really important for them to be athletic and be able to run the floor. KP Porzingis, former Knick, he created some serious problems for opposing teams. So I just feel like you need to be prepared to beat the best, and right now that is the Boston Celtics. Mitch, I think it's kind of up in the air. Excuse me. I think he would find a really good presence on a younger team, somebody that needs somebody big under the basket. Off the top of my head, maybe he could find a home out west in Los Angeles. Play the middleman in for the Lakers with AD actually being able to do his own thing, and LeBron playing the point.
Okay.
What do you think, Sean?
Yeah, I agree. I think Mitch's time is done at this point. Just because of, I hear you on the injuries, and I hear you in regards to what he brings to the table. But I think he's expendable because of what IR did. Like, yes, he has injuries, but I don't think we would get rid of him just because of that. I think it's more of like we're gonna have to pay IR. Like, he had career highs in rebounds, assists, steals per game. He has early bird rights, so right now I believe we can't exceed like $72 million for 4 years. And depending on what happens with Nick Claxton in New Jersey or in Brooklyn, that's going to dictate how much we're going to have to pay for Ihart. So I think that's the factor in regards to Mitch. Like, I don't think it's because of his injuries. He's not. If he comes back and Ihart comes back, he's not going to be our starting center. It's going to be Ihart, right? Mm-hmm. So I think that being that we're going to have to pay for Ihart to keep him, that's what's going to say, hey, Mitch, you got to go because we can't pay you. Can't pay both of you. Free agent wise, like a couple people come to mind. One that's really been like intriguing, and I know he has a player option, kind of like how OG does. But we talk about 3-and-D. Caleb Martin from the Heat. His stats don't jump off the board. He averages like 10, 4, and 2, but he plays defense, gritty defense, and he can shoot the three. He shot 35% from three last season. That's exactly what we would need, right? We need someone off the bench that could do that, that's going to play their role. He's a rotational player, and he's okay with that. And I think if we can have that type of player come off the bench, I wouldn't be opposed to it. We would have to move some pieces, obviously. I think a lot of things that we're talking about is going to be dictated by what we do with Bojan. Like, I don't see us keeping him. So we need to figure out what we're going to do. Either put him in a trade package to a team that's probably going to take him and then cut him, or we're going to just have to eat it and cut him ourselves. So I think that's going to be a factor in our free agency. I told y'all this before. I'm big on a guard. Like, I really feel like we need a really good guard that can when Jalen comes out the game, can control the rock, can dish the rock, can play some defense, and Deuce isn't that. So two guys I've been looking at, Tyus Jones, Washington, had some career high numbers. Averaged about 49% from the field, shot about 40% from three, averaged 12 and 8, all career highs. I wouldn't mind that as a backup point guard. And then also I think of Gary Trent Jr., and both of these guys are young, right? And you mentioned it earlier, Pat, about like building. Like, both of these guys are mid-20s, can play ball, and just statistically, if you compare them to Miles McBride, it's an upgrade, huge upgrade. I love Deuce, but we need upgrades, right? Especially if we're going to compete with what Boston has right now. I think of like a Derek White. Like, we need a player like that can shoot the three, can play defense, gritty. Doesn't matter. He'll score 5 points and be perfectly fine with that. And I think that's where my mind comes to. So I look at Tyus Jones and I look at Gary Trent Jr. Can both play defense, can both shoot the three, and can handle the rock. Mm-hmm. Chris, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, we're getting into like some other, free agent needs. Yeah, but I agree with you. Getting another guy that can handle the ball and, spell Brunson when he's going to the bench should be another priority of the Knicks. Yeah, I'm also, I agree with you. I think upgrading at that backup guard position would be helpful. And, again, unfortunately, we let Deuce loose, and he might be on his way out of New York as well. We're also probably gonna be losing Bojan, but we kind of already knew that he was on a rental deal anyway. I would be looking for like some more offensive punch as well. To me personally, it might be wishful thinking, but I would actually be looking at like Kelly Oubre from the Sixers. He's coming up on free agency too. He's a guy that has size, 6'7", can defend, but definitely can give you an offensive burst. So literally he can fill the role of like, all right, first man off the bench, can handle the ball a little bit, and can give you some scoring punch, whether it's shooting the three or just getting to the basket. And, again, he has the size, so he can defend a lot of the bigger guards and wing players in the league. You can put him on a Tatum, you can put him on a Brown, and he'll not stop him, but he'll definitely slow him down. I'm also looking at what's his name from the Mavericks. I literally just had his name on my head. Derek Jones Jr. You know, a two-way player, very athletic. Can definitely do some handling of the rock, bring the ball up. And the only thing is, like, does he have like the defensive prowess to be, on a Tom Thibodeau team? That remains to be seen. But I think the only good thing about his contract is he's looking for a little bit of a pay bump. So I think he's getting, like, I don't know, a little bit more than like the vet minimum right now. So we could get him on the cheap, and he fills in for a lot of the different needs that we might have on the squad. But free agency, it's kind of all over the place. It's like you might have like some inklings that, like, a guy, we're going after this guy, and we can totally go in the opposite direction. So you never know. But those are two players that I'm looking at for potential upgrades as we're shuffling up the deck.
Yeah, I like that. I like what you're saying about Oubre. Like, my only concern with Oubre is I don't think a lot of teams are going to want him, and I think he's probably going to, depending on what Philly's approach is moving forward, I think he just fits their mold and fits that culture and that team. Can he do exactly what we're looking for? Yeah, he's a bigger small forward. He can play defense full court. Not a big fan of his shooting the three. So I think that's where I'm like iffy on it. Like, can he come in and shoot the three? I don't know. And can he create the ball? Can he create for himself? That would be my two concerns with him. But yeah, he fills the void in the sense of a big forward that's quick, fast, can play defense. Yeah, I'm not opposed to it. But again, I think he stays in Philadelphia. I don't see him leaving, especially with depending on what they do.
Yeah.
Yeah, we find that Philadelphia really likes gritty players like that, and they really fit that mold, and they embrace the city, and the city embraces them. And I think he's pretty important to their success over there. So I think they're going to probably try to pay him maybe a little bit more than the market value. A couple more names that I passed by that I thought were at least intriguing. Taylor Horton-Tucker is only 23 years old. He's a pretty solid player, maybe end of the bench guy if we could get him on the cheap. And then two other names, Daniel Theis, if he's on the cheap. He's an athletic big that could back up Isaiah Hartenstein or maybe even Malik Beasley for the right number.
With it's Theis. I forgot how we pronounce his name.
Yeah.
My only concern with him is, like, offensively. Like, defensively, he's gritty. He's gonna run the floor. He's kind of like a Plumlee. He's gonna run the floor. He's gonna play hard every minute that he's on the floor. My concern would be offensively. I guess he don't have nothing.
Very small.
Yeah, like a very small, undersized big. Doesn't really have too much offense, but yeah, he's gonna bang. He's like a Precious Achua. He's gonna run the floor. He's gonna play defense. A little bit more gritty than Precious. Yeah, listen, I think we're talking about a lot of different options here. I think at the end of the day, we need to run this shit back. Like, we don't know what any of this looks like with Randall. Like, we have no idea, right? I was listening to Kevin Garnett was talking about it. Like, don't change anything. Keep everyone that you have. Run the shit back. See what you have at Randall.
Right.
Like, that's like, yes, I want us to sign OG, but at the end of the day, we really have no idea what this team looks like with Randall healthy a full season.
Yep.
So that's going to be big. He was on Carmelo Anthony's pod, just talking about, like, he's there, he's ready. He's still rehabbing a little bit, but by the time next season comes, he's ready to go.
Yeah.
And he's ready to win, right? So I don't know.
Exactly.
And a lot of decisions to make.
Yeah, and I'm one of those that I don't buy into, like, the Randall hate. Is like, dude is definitely a top 25 player in the NBA. At his position, I'd argue he's probably one of the best power forwards in the league, like period. I'm hard pressed to name like many other players that are better than him. And you just don't like get rid of a 25 and 12 guy like that. They don't grow on trees. You know what I mean? Yeah, there's questions about his efficiency and his decision making, and just like his playoff performances. But again, we've given
We got Jalen.
yeah, we got Jalen now. You know what I mean? Like, and we haven't seen like all of that
Yeah.
piece together. So he don't have to be the primary option. He can be the secondary option. Cook when Jalen's out, and he's another guy that you can run the offense through where he can actually. It's a little spotty him at point forward, but I mean, at least he's shown like the aptitude of like being able to handle the rock, bring the ball up, and initiate the offense. I mean, he averaged 5 assists last season as a power forward. Like he can get people involved. He can get the ball to open shooters in the corner. He can kick it out to OG when he's seeing a double team. And I think that's like the biggest part of his game that's actually improved is like him passing the ball out of double teams, because teams are going to lock in on him. And to your point, Sean, when you got Jalen and Brunson, when you got Brunson and Randall both on the court, you can't double both of them. You gotta pick your poison. So I'm with you. I want to see the team run it back as much as they can with the same squad from last season and see what we can do.
Yeah, we gotta re-sign. At the end of the day, yes, we need to re-sign OG. Like that's it. We re-sign OG. What you got? What's our starting lineup going to be? Jalen, DiVincenzo, OG, Randall, Ihart.
Yep.
Then first person off the bench is Josh Hart.
Yep.
And then after that, it gets thin. So I think at the end of the day, like if we sign OG, re-sign Ihart, we just need to upgrade off the bench because obviously Tibbs is going to run a small rotation, right? Like we just need that 7th or 8th guy to be exactly what we need. And I think that's a 3-and-D guy. And I'm really all in on like we need an upgrade from Deuce, unless we keep Deuce and run it back. But I just he limits us at the guard position from handling the rock. But we don't know what the offense is going to look like with Randall and OG both together.
Yeah, so that's the whole thing with Deuce McBride is which way is he headed? Is he headed in the direction of a shooting guard where he's just a spot shooter, or is he going to actually be that point guard? Because we kind of need that point guard. We need that backup. If he could get it past the half court and then dish it to Randall or dish it to Hart, maybe we're okay. But it's really, really hard not to have a super reliable point guard backing up Jalen Brunson. Late game situations, heaven forbid, Brunson needs a break. You need somebody that could get the ball up past half court. We had a little bit of an issue in the playoffs with that right there. So I totally agree with you. I think Dante D is going to have an amazing year this year with the addition of Randall and what Brunson just proved he was capable of in the playoffs. I think Dante is just going to line up behind the 3-point line and just drain him all day.
Bombs away for sure.
Yeah, he's going to be solid.
To your point, Pat, too.
That core, like we're going to have a run, and that's what I mean, like run it back with this core. Like it's only going to get better. Like this core group of guys just went through a lot of shit last season, ups and downs, and we found our identity. Like Jalen is a superstar, and now you bring Randall back into the fold, which to Kris's point, like you're not going to be able to double anybody. So you want to double Jalen and get the ball out of his hands? All right, then we'll put the ball in Randall's hands. You're not going to double team him, and what power forward, to Kris's point, what power forward is guarding him today? Like, so it's just a matchup nightmare. So we got to run it back. We just got to re-sign our core guys, and let's go. Like, load up. Like, if we were healthy, I don't care what yes, Boston, kudos to y'all for winning, but, like, if we were healthy, man, please. We match up very well against Boston. Just saying.
One question. Julius Randle, obviously an absolute weapon on the offensive end. So let's say we see Boston next year in the playoffs. Who does Julius Randle cover? Can he handle that assignment?
He would guard Porzingis.
Okay, who's Ihart cover?
Horford.
Yeah, actually, that line.
But we don't know if Horford's going to be back. He just won his first championship, first Dominican-born player to win a championship in the NBA. He's, 39?
Yeah.
He may or may not be back. And what's his name? Who's their center? Their young guy that they have that looks like he's like 45. They got him from Memphis. His name's dropping from my mind. He's a free agent too. I can't remember.
Cornette? What's that?
Xavier Tillman.
Okay.
He's a young, solid player, but he's a free agent. So, I know they got him from Memphis mid-season trade-wise. So I don't know if they're going to bring him back. Yeah, I don't know what they're going to do at center. But, yeah, Randall can guard Porzingis.
Yeah.
The issue is going to be, can Porzingis guard Randall? Because that's what Dallas didn't have. Even though Porzingis wasn't healthy, they didn't have a power forward that could really guard, that could create for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? They had Lively, and they had what's his name from Washington. They can't really handle the rock.
Gafford.
They can't handle the rock, so they're like bigs that they're pick and roll guys. Close, they need to be close to the basket. So you think about like if we were in that game, like who's guarding Randall? Like Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, they're not guarding Randall, so nobody's guarding him. Horford's not guarding him.
No.
He'll put him in a blender. So that's why I say we match up well.
Yep.
I think they would have an answer for Jalen Brunson to a degree, but I still think we match up well.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, healthy wise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because Drew balled out too. Drew Holiday balled out.
Drew definitely did.
He balled out.
Yeah. You had a lot of guys that just like, it just showed like the depth that Boston had because they just had a lot of guys that just came in and just gave contributions. So, I mean, roster-wise, I think they were probably one of the deepest teams in the league this past season.
Listen, Derek White, man. I know a lot of people talk crap about him, talk about his game, talk about his teeth, talk about his forehead. Dude plays, man. Does his job. Yeah. He's kind of like he's like Josh Hart. Does his job. Plays ball.
You know what his game kind of reminds me of? It's like he's a better defender, but he kind of has like that Chris Middleton game where it's like he can shoot, he can go a little back to the basket, he can
old man game.
Yeah, he's got that old man basketball game, but he's a little smaller but he defends much better than Chris Middleton. Yeah.
Very well. Mm-hmm. Runs the floor.
Yep.
Does his job. That's what I said. He's like Hart. He's like Josh Hart. Mm-hmm. So. Yeah, I think at the end of the day, what we're talking about is we need to compare ourselves to the Celtics because 2 through 5 next season is wide open for the taking.
Mm-hmm.
Period. Just depends on if we make the right moves.
Yeah, absolutely.
Totally agree.
Cool. I like our little Knicks rant we went on right there. You guys ready to talk some NFL?
Let's do it.
All right.
Let's go.
We're going season predictions for each one of our teams. We're going to go up and down the schedules, and we're going to say wins or losses. Pat, the Giants are on the clock. The G-Man.
FY, retired. We fleeced the Giants.
Oh, Lord. That was terrible.
Yeah. Something worked. Josh McDaniels did something right. Let's go. Sorry, it's not my time.
He made it happen.
Shut up now.
He made it happen. All right, let me pull up the schedule here. All right, so where are we at?
How many primetime games the Giants have this season?
I think like 3 or 4.
3 or 4. Okay. All right. So
week 4, week 6, week 8. And then they have a London game or Germany game, perhaps.
Well, that'll be a primetime game too, or not really. It just depends. If it's
Well,
like
televised.
yeah, televised.
Televised game.
Yeah,
Nationally televised.
yeah, for sure. All right, open up September 8th with the Minnesota Vikings.
A win. We're going to open up the season with a win. The Minnesota Vikings have a questionable quarterback situation.
Okay, okay. Then we got week 2 Washington Commanders.
That's a win also. We're going in. We're going to see another rookie quarterback potentially. It's a little early in the season for Jaden Daniels. I don't think he'll quite have his feet underneath him. Giants are 2-0.
Okay. Got the confidence. I like it. Thursday Night Football, the Dallas Cowboys.
I have Cleveland next. Am I incorrect?
Yes, you're right. Cleveland Browns.
Okay.
We skipped right over to the primetime game. We got Cleveland Browns.
Unfortunately, this is where the Giants run into an issue. Myles Garrett, Nick Chubb, and they get run over a little bit. This is a loss.
Okay, 2-1. Then we got Thursday Night Football, the Dallas Cowboys.
This is a loss. The Giants get smacked around.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
Then we got Giants at the Seattle Seahawks.
Got this as another loss. Seattle's incredibly difficult to play in. Geno Smith's continually doing his thing. I just don't think the Giants have it in them early in the season.
Okay. Another primetime game, Sunday Night Football, the Cincinnati Bengals.
This is a loss too. Joe Burrow is one of the best young quarterbacks in the NFL. If he is healthy, the Bengals will be pushing for the Super Bowl.
Okay, yeah, it's not looking good early on. We got the Philadelphia Eagles to follow them.
This is another loss, unfortunately. Giants endure a 5-game losing streak. Saquon probably goes off on them. Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown are probably the top wide receiver duo in the NFL.
Okay. We got another primetime game at the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Unfortunately, I have this as another loss. A 6-game losing streak. The Giants are probably in really, really rough shape at this point in the season.
Okay. We started off so good. I don't know what happened.
I know, it was feeling good.
We got game 2 against the Washington Commanders.
This one will be another win. The Giants usually handle Washington fairly well during the regular season. Once again, rookie quarterback, he'll be playing much better, but this is at Giants Stadium, so I think the Giants will take this one home.
Okay. Follow that up, Tampa Bay Buccaneers coming to town.
I had Carolina. Carolina in the 9:30 game. I have that one as a win.
Okay.
Once again, just a young team. Bryce Young. I think that the Giants win that one.
Literally looking at the thing. Okay, what
and
do you
have?
have?
We have a bye, and then we have Tampa.
There you go. That's probably why. Didn't see the bye. I'm looking at the ticket schedule, so it don't have bye weeks in here. What do we think about Tampa?
I got another win. The Giants are getting their feet underneath them a little bit. I don't think Baker Mayfield is that good. I think the Giants' defense is going to surprise some teams this year.
Okay. Then Cowboys again?
Yep. Got this as a loss, unfortunately. Dallas is a very, very solid team. I just think they're too much for the Giants right now.
Okay. The New Orleans Saints.
This one as a win. I don't know really what to expect out of the Saints this year. They've been a little inconsistent the last couple of years. We'll see what we get out of Derek Carr.
Okay, go down 95, and we got the Baltimore Ravens.
This is a loss. The Ravens are going to be a monster this year. Get ready, guys.
Oh, well. Yeah, I don't disagree with you there. Then we got the Atlanta Falcons.
Fortunately, another loss. It's going to be like a track meet in Atlanta. Bijan is probably going to really take it to the Giants, and I think Kirk Cousins is really going to be able to put him in position to succeed.
Okay. Follow that up with the Indianapolis Colts.
This one's a win. The Giants' defense plays really well. Anthony Richardson is a bit young. I think we'll take this one.
Okay, and then we end the season with the Giants at the Philadelphia Eagles.
It hurts that the schedule makers put us against Philly on the last game of the year when all the Saquon Barkley stuff happened. This is going to be a loss. Probably a fairly convincing one. I I think the Giants will be ready to pack it in.
I mean, it sounded like they were ready to pack it in like halfway through the season, but what was the overall record here? I heard a lot of losses. How many?
7-10. I'm trying to be a realist. I might be optimist. Honestly, with the 7-10 record, we'll see what happens. Daniel Jones, if he could stay upright and use his athletic ability, you never know. He took us to the playoffs with very few pieces years ago, but it has to be the perfect situation with a terrific defense.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's not looking easy, but I mean, that's the good thing about the NFL is like the ebb and flow kind of like, changes year to year, and you're like some teams you think are going to dominate and then they whiff or they fall out of fall into schedule hell where they just play a bunch of teams. So you guys might be able to pull some of these out. I definitely think Pittsburgh is a winnable game. There are a couple of these you might be able to split with Dallas. I know the NFC East, there's always like it's very tough. Teams play each other pretty competitively. So you might be able to split one with the Eagles or with Dallas there. So some optimism. I got some optimism for you, Pat. Just don't just all pack it in and be like, oh yeah, they're gonna sweep us.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Kris.
Mm-hmm. All right, Mr. Chino. The Oakland Raiders are on the clock. You bring up.
I wish we were still in Oakland.
For me, they're always going to be Oakland. I don't care.
Always
Las Vegas Raiders are on the clock.
Black hole, baby. Black holes everywhere. Doesn't matter.
Black hole
it's gonna be fun.
Everywhere. All right, let's look at your guys' schedule. Preseason.
While you're pulling that up, I was just going to say one thing I'll say to Pat's comment about Eagles being the last game of the season. It's all about marketing, baby. All about marketing, business. Yeah.
Hurts so bad.
What'd the coach say? All these Giants fans talk all this shit. But guess what? We took your best player. Oh my gosh.
So true.
He just rubs me.
He does.
Sirianni.
All right. Open up the season with the Los Angeles Chargers.
It's the Mac. W. It's at Los Angeles. You mean that it's at Las Vegas? It's at the Raiders because that's the home game. Every time we go to LA, it's a home game. That's a W. New system for them, new coach. They got a lot of question marks. And defensively, we play very well against them. And our defense is better this season.
Okay. I like the confidence. Then you got the Baltimore Ravens.
That's an L. We taking an L there. Pat said earlier, Ravens are going to be freaking solid as a rock this season. And we're going to be in Baltimore. Yeah.
Okay. Next is the Carolina Panthers.
That's a W. Young team. I think defensively we're going to put a lot of pressure on Young. And I think offensively we can run the rock against them very well. So I'll take a W there.
Okay. Follow that up with the Cleveland Browns.
It hurts me to say this. I feel like it's going to be a close game. I feel like it's going to come down to a play here and there at the end. But I think Cleveland wins it.
Okay. Not to mention Mr. Joe Flacco, Autobahn zone. So slinging that rock. Former Jet. Former Raven.
He's on the Colts now, right?
Hey.
He's on the Colts.
It's all good. Then you guys visit the Mile House City. Play the Denver Broncos.
Did you say the Donkeys?
You said the Donkeys. The Denver Donkeys.
They haven't beaten us in like 5 years. We'll take the W there.
Okay.
I have no idea. They have no idea what team they got.
No.
Sean Payton just had to get cataract surgery. He can't even see things. He can't even see what he's got in front of him. Donkey's done. They take the L there. Sorry.
Donkey's done. Okay. I'm rooting for a Zach Wilson start in Denver, but we'll see what happens. Pittsburgh Steelers.
Always play us tough. It's gonna be a crazy game, crazy atmosphere. It's at home. Yes, they have Russell Wilson, but still, that's still a question mark because we don't know what that team's gonna look like. And we should have beat them the last 2 seasons. We get the W, revenge game.
Okay.
At home.
Nice. Then we got game number 2 against the Rams.
What did I say about Los Angeles?
Another Los Angeles game. Home game, right?
It's a home game. Home game. We're getting the W.
Okay. No fear whatsoever in LA, huh?
None. It's a home game. Every time we go to LA, it's a home game. Doesn't matter if it's the Rams or the Chargers.
Okay. Now you might have a tough one. The defending Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs.
That's an L. That's an L in Kansas City. That's an L. We're taking an L at Allegiant Stadium. At home. They rock us at home. Mm-hmm. Smack us. I don't know what it is.
Hey, they like
there
it.
Must be something going on.
They like it in Vegas. I don't know why, but you follow that up with the Cincinnati Bengals.
We take the L there. I think Joe Burrow is going to be out on a tear this season. I think they're going to be locked in. We're going to see a different Bengals team this year, for sure. So I think we take the L there.
Okay. Then you head down to South Beach and play the Miami Dolphins.
I think this will be a Christian Wilkinson welcome home, baby. He's going to smack up on Tua. I think we get the W. Close game. We're good.
Okay. Then Denver comes into the desert.
Can we just skip that one?
We're going to
talk about it. I ain't got nothing to say about them.
Chalk that up.
There's no way. There's just no way they're beating us. Period.
All right.
Point blank, period.
All right. Game number 2 against the Chiefs.
You might think I'm crazy, but I always say we play the Chiefs well in Kansas City. And optimistic-wise, like for the past couple seasons, we've always played them well, and we've always been close to splitting with them. I think it's this year. We do it again. We did it last year on Christmas. We're going to do it again this year. So let's do it. That's a W.
Okay. Then back to Florida to play the Buccaneers.
Oof. You know what's crazy about the Buccaneers? They're really not that good, but they scare me. I don't know about y'all. They scare me.
Yeah.
And I think coming off a big win in Kansas City, I think we take the L on the road in Tampa Bay.
Tough in Florida.
In Florida, yeah.
And then it's Monday Night Football, bringing the Atlanta Falcons.
We're going to break Kirk Cousins' legs. Right? I don't even think Kirk Cousins is going to be the quarterback week 15. That's the bull. You want a hot take?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's the quarterback week 15. Write that down. Week 15.
Week 15, Kirk Cousins out.
Not the quarterback.
Okay.
And we take it, and that's in our house. That's the W.
All right. Nice. All right. And then we got the third team from Florida. Are you going to be playing the Jacksonville Jaguars?
They're coming to our house this time. I think it's the same story. I think that not same story. I think that we're going to be on we're going to put a little hot streak going on here. So I think we can take care of Jacksonville.
Okay. Getting close to the end. Second to last game, the New Orleans Saints.
That's hurts me to say this, but Derek Carr is going to have a very, very bad game. He's gonna try to overdo it. It's gonna be like a revenge game. He's like, all right, I'm back. Like, you're in my city now. I'm in New Orleans. And I think, Pat, to your point earlier, like, I don't know what the identity of this team's gonna be. And I don't know if Derek Carr is gonna be able to do it. So we get the W there.
W down in the Bayou. And yeah, you get your second game against the Chargers to round out the season.
What y'all think I'm gonna say here? What do you think I'm gonna say here? It's a W.
So wait,
you know what? I actually.
So you have no faith in Justin Herbert at all.
I have zero faith in that team.
What about that coach?
Fuck that coach. I told you how I feel about that coach. I tell you. I told you how I feel. I don't see it. I don't see it. I hear I know the hype, and yes, Harbaugh's a great coach. I don't know. I don't see it. Yeah, I don't. And I think that just depending like how the game is, it's going to be the last game of the season. I feel like there's going to be a lot on the line. Let me go back here real quick.
It's crazy how we have faith in one Harbaugh brother, but we don't have faith in the other one, and they've been
I don't have faith
almost
in
as successful.
I have faith in Lamar Jackson. That's what I have faith in.
That's who you have faith in.
That's what I have faith in. Yes, 100%. And no offense to Harbaugh's, but the Ravens are just a solid team. They just top to bottom, like at every position, and they have Lamar Jackson, and they're going to be at home. But we're good. We're good on that one.
Nice. So, just recap for me. What's the record overall here?
I lost track.
I also lost track.
Hold on.
Womp womp.
I was going here. Hold on.
I know there were a lot of wins.
Yeah. It sounds like you guys are a wild card team by the way you're saying you had so many wins.
You know what I'm going to put money on as soon as I'm able to.
Make the playoffs?
Raiders winning the AFC West.
Let me check those odds for you while you tally up.
All right, so win, loss, win, loss, win.
That's a big number.
Win.
It's a big number.
Plus 900.
Loss. Win.
I got us at 10-7.
That's doable.
Yeah, that's doable.
Tough division though. I think the Chargers are going to be a little better, maybe than we're expecting, and the Chiefs are the Chiefs.
Yeah, I think from our perspective, as I always say every year, we're in good shape if we can split with the Chiefs and the Chargers and we can sweep the Broncos. I don't care who else is on our schedule. In our division, as long as we can accomplish that, we'll be in it. We'll be in it. And I think that just, again, looking at the schedule later in the season, I feel like it's very favorable. Like that run where it's Atlanta, Jacksonville, Saints, Chargers, like I'll take that. Yeah. I'll take that because 3 of those 4 games are at home. So less traveling later in the season.
Some things to note here. You sweep the Florida teams. So you're saying you beat all of the Florida teams.
No, we lose to the Buccaneers.
Lose to Buccaneers. Okay. Lose to Buccaneers. And then primetime game against the Falcons. You're saying Kirk Cousins will not be the starting quarterback.
Hot take. Write it down. I don't even care. Write it down.
Okay.
That one's noted. Got that one.
Noted.
Write it. Yeah. Mark it down. I hope y'all are recording this.
We're definitely recording it. We saved the best for last. We looking at the Jets schedule.
No, we put the best. We put the best in the middle.
Put the best in the middle. Okay.
Sean, go ahead. You want to read it off, and I'll keep tally.
Yeah. Let me pull it up. I actually had it here. From Bayonne, New Jersey. here we go. Let's see. Oh, woo! That's not the link I wanted to click here. All right, let's pull up this schedule here.
Mm-hmm.
All right. We ready?
We ready.
All right, so we kick off the season Monday night at the Niners. Prime time.
Prime time.
What we got?
We got the Jets against the 49ers. I think defensively we're about even. Offensively, I'm rocking with Ron. I'm gonna say we're gonna move the ball against them. I'm gonna say that's a win on Monday night.
A W against the Niners.
Yeah, I'm coming in hot.
Okay, that's fine. All right, then on a short week at Tennessee. So we're on the road 2 games in a row here at Tennessee. What you got?
I'm gonna say on a short week, that's a potential loss. That's a quick turnaround. We're gonna have a lot of energy fueled on the opening game, Monday Night Football. We'll be a little gassed. I think we lose this one.
AC Titans got some new pieces there, so it could see some crazy stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Again on a short week, Thursday night against New England in New York.
Man, what are we talking about? Fuck the Patriots. That's a win. Don't ever bring them up to me. Belichick out, Brady gone, living off nostalgia. Dub. Beat down.
Okay. So now we get a well-rested team, and you travel to, you stay at home against the Donkeys.
We beat the Donkeys. Zach Wilson is not going to have a comeback game against his former team. Jets win.
That'll be it. We'll take it. Then we stay at home again. Good little home stand here. Minnesota comes to town. Minnesota.
Yeah, win against Minnesota. Young team, new quarterback. Jets get the win.
Okay. And I apologize. That's not at home. I think that's a London game again, or a Germany game.
Ooh.
Does that change your pick?
No. Headed to London or Germany, wherever they're gonna play. We'll give them
international.
We'll hand them the beat down in whatever time zone we need to be in.
Nice. Jet flying. All right. Then we come. You come back home, international, and you host Buffalo Bills prime time Monday night.
Yeah, I'm gonna give us a loss on this one. Buffalo is a very strong team, and Josh Allen. Say what you want about him, he's elite, top 3 quarterback in the NFL. So I definitely think it's gonna be close, but I think Buffalo's gonna pull it out. So we got a loss on that one.
Yeah. Short week, traveling to Pittsburgh, Sunday night.
We're going to go get some Roethlisbergers and lay the smack down on the Steelers. Give me a Jets win.
Woo! Little burger action. Like it. All right. Then following week, we're traveling again. Going into Foxborough.
What are we talking about?
Gillette Stadium.
What are we talking about? Win.
W. Okay.
Mark it down.
Sweeping the Patriots, huh?
Sweeping the Patriots.
Belichick era is over. Okay. Short week. Coming back home. Hosting the Houston Texans. Prime time.
Hey, CJ ain't gonna do it. Lights are gonna be too big. We already saw playoffs. He crumbles under the lights until he proves me wrong. Give me a Jets win on that one.
Is this a hot take here?
Listen,
You saying CJ holds under pressure?
I'm saying if we're gonna take the old man in Aaron, who's been here, seen the lights, played in many big games, versus second year guy who's like still making his way up the ladder, still showing if he can be Mr. Big Primetime player. I'm taking the Jets. Plus, I think overall our team is better than the Texans. So let's chalk that up as a dub.
Okay. All right, coming off a dub at home, short week. No, long week. Sorry, long week. Rested, but we're traveling to Arizona.
Get some little time off, some sun and some golfing in the desert. Give me a dub. Smackdown on the Cardinals. I love you, Kyler, but it ain't gonna happen for you.
Not today.
Not today.
Okay. I like it. All right. Now we come back home and host the Colts. Sunday night.
Yeah. We got. Can I just mention, we got a lot of primetime games. I think we got 7, which I'm personally not a fan of, but whatever. The NFL wants to see AA run. I am gonna give us a dub against the Colts. We've had 3 young quarterbacks in a row, and our defense is just gonna overwhelm the Colts offense. They're not gonna know where to throw the ball. Sacks galore.
Monsters. Okay. All right, we got a bye week, and then we host the Seattle Seahawks.
Chino's return to the Meadowlands. Yeah, I think he didn't have very many good years in Secaucus, so I think we find a way to get the dub there. Give me a W.
Getting the W gets us a really good sneaky good Seattle team. Okay.
Sneaky good.
All right, now we go on a little road trip to Florida, Miami.
Oh, that's like a second home. So many New Yorkers fly down south, snowbirds, get away from, some harsh northeast weather. Give me the Jets. Jets fly high in South Beach.
Okay. We're going to stay in Florida. Go up to Jacksonville.
Trevor Lawrence. Puh. Give me a dub.
He said,
Puh.
you should have did Miami. Oh.
Oh.
Oh, I love it. All right. Got 2 dubs in Florida. Traveling back home to host the LA Rams.
I think Western teams traveling out east historically don't do as well. So I'm gonna take some revisionist history and say the Jets pull out a dub here. It might not be close, but we edge out a win. I'm gonna give that like a 3-point field goal win against the Rams.
Can dig it. It's right around Christmas time. Be a good present. Now you travel up to Buffalo, December 29th. Probably gonna be snowing. Ready, go.
Even though my heart is telling me we sweep the Bills, that it looks like we're gonna split. And when it comes to the heavy winter weather, Buffalo is just different. I'll say we lose this one. We split with
Bills are sweeping y'all.
Yep. Bills are gonna sweep us. Hey, I'm not a delusional Jets fan. I gotta be optimistic where I can, but until we actually beat the team that's on top of our division, I'm not gonna give us give us the win. You got to show and prove.
Dig it. I can dig it. All right. So now we end the season after New Year's in New York, hosting Miami.
Hey, they're a warm weather team. It's going to be cold up in New York. Give me the Jets. And yes, we sweep the Dolphins.
Oof. Okay.
Hot take.
Tariq has good games in the snow sometimes. I'm just saying.
Hey.
Just saying.
Tyreek Hill can do all the running that he wants, but Tua's got to be able to throw the ball, and I don't see him doing that against our front four.
That's a fact. All right, what we got, Pat?
We got a nice juicy 14-3 record for the New York Jets. That is certainly the top of the AFC, I believe.
What?
That is juicy.
What? See,
he watched that Bayonne video too.
I did watch the Bayonne video, but I thought I was being a little more realistic with like some of my choices. But hey, we ended up 14-3 yet again. I don't know. Yeah, if that's the case, we are hosting the road to the playoffs comes through New York. That's all I'm gonna say.
You never know. Aaron Rodgers, if he could really stay healthy the whole year, the roster is there. The weapons 100%. Are there. Breece Hall, one of the top 3 running back in the NFL, and their defense is so solid. You never know.
100%.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and to your point, Pat, it's all contingent on Aaron number 8 staying upright. If that can happen, he's shown, at least in the regular season, he can get it done.
Question for you guys before we move on. We all faced the Steelers, I think, this year. What week does Justin Fields take over for Russ Wilson?
Ooh, that's a big one. That's a big one.
I don't think he does.
No?
I don't see it. Yeah, I don't see it because I think the Steelers are going to be a decent team. I don't think they're going to be bad. I don't think it's going to be like, oh, well, they can't win, so let's make a change. And
yeah. I agree.
I think Russell will have a decent season enough to the fact of like they're going to be in they're going to be playoff contention and they're not going to need to make a change.
Yeah, Steelers are one of the marquee franchises in the NFL. They're known for having long stretches of consistent play from and decision making from coaches to players. Like they'll stick with a guy, and not make like knee-jerk reactions. And as long as Russell's playing well, I could see him finishing the season basically as their starter. Another point, something to bring up, is that we are all saying that the Bengals are going to have a comeback season, so to speak, and Joe Burrow is going to, I guess, do what he did a couple of years ago, potentially make them a Super Bowl contender. Is that fair to say?
100%. Yeah, as long as he comes back healthy and ready to go, I think the weapons are there. He has a really good coach, and they work extremely well together. It's just a matter of keeping him upright, which has always kind of been the problem for them. Sean, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I definitely think that it's going to come down to protecting the quarterback. It's going to come down to keeping him on his feet. So, yeah, I think they're 100% going to be a good team.
Mm-hmm. Any surprises on the schedule for any of the games on your team's schedules that you want to highlight? Sean, I know you basically saying all of the LA games are home games.
They're 100% home games. It's just that's a proven fact. If you and you guys can pay attention to it this season, you'll see when the Raiders come to LA, blackout. So yeah, I'm not worried. I'm not 100% too worried about games in LA. I mentioned earlier, I like the fact that we are going to get that stretch at the end of the season where we're going to get 3 out of 4 home games to end the season. Because I think we'll be in playoff contention, and it's going to help for us not to have to travel that much at the end of the season. Stay home, stay rested, get none of that jet lag. So that's what I look forward to.
I'm just really looking forward to the games against the division rivals to try to see where the Giants are exactly. You know, they're trying to develop their roster, they're trying to get better, but obviously the Cowboys and the Eagles are two of the best teams in the NFL. So if they could at least play them tough, maybe steal a couple games from them, then it would be really, really encouraging for the direction of the Giants. What about you, Kris?
I'm like kind of torn a little bit. On the one hand, I'm glad the Jets have so many primetime games, but on the other hand, is like if we're sucking, like that's just like the whole world's eyes like fixed on the Jets sucking. So I think it's gonna be put up or shut up time for us. Like the roster construction is there. We got an elite quarterback. It's time to see what we could do. Are we gonna cook, or are we just gonna fold under the pressure? So that's kind of like what I'm looking at, and it's all gonna start out game one against the NFC champions 49ers. So we're gonna see if we're there, or we still got some work to do.
Yeah, I would also add for us, the beginning of the season is going to be a tough stretch. You think of the teams that are over 500 teams. You got the Chargers, you got the Ravens, you got the Browns, you got the Steelers, we got the Chiefs, we got the Bengals, we got the Rams. We face all of them in the first 9 games. So it's going to be a tough stretch. It's going to define our team. Are we the team that everyone says we are going to be? Like, defense is good, but quarterback question marks. It's the Raiders. I think if we can make some statements in some of these games, that'll define how the season goes. And that's us if beating the Steelers, beating the Chargers, beating the Rams. Depends how we do against the Bengals and the Chiefs. Like I said, that first 9-game stretch is going to be a tough one.
Yeah. Pat, for you, question specifically for the Giants, because you said 7-10 record. Historically, NFC East teams have beat each other up and, won games where they should have, lost games where they shouldn't. Where do you see potential, 2-game swing? Because honestly, I think 9-8 team is going to get a wild card out of this division. Where do you think you guys can make up 2 games?
I certainly believe that we could steal one from Dallas, especially in New York. I think the Giants' defense, like I mentioned, is going to be improved this year. I think Dexter Lawrence is going to have a massive year playing next to Brian Burns, which is really, really exciting. And I also feel like the Giants might be able to steal one from Chino in Seattle. Once again, the Giants just play pretty tough against certain teams, and they play Seattle pretty tough. And I know Seattle's one of the loudest stadiums in the entire NFL, but I think they have the capability to win that one. And if they could somehow contain Nick Chubb, I don't think Deshaun Watson is the quarterback that he used to be. I think they'll get a lot of pressure on him, but they have to shut down Chubb and that run game. So, there's a little bit of optimism, if they could get that offense running and Daniel Jones can actually play quarterback and not just run for his life. They have the possibility, but I kind of felt like 7-10 was pretty optimistic. So I'm a little nervous about this year.
All right. Well, it's all going to unfold relatively quickly. We're going to get into training camps pretty soon and, preseason right after that. So getting back into football season, which it can't come soon enough since we're going to be in the dog days of summer. I like everybody's takes. We'll see. We'll write down these takes and these predictions and see who was close to being correct once we start getting closer to the season. Good stuff. Any other thoughts? Are we good to move?
No, just can't wait. Can't wait for football season.
Mm-hmm. Let's go. All right. Now it is time for our favorite segment. Is it Feast or is it Fumble? Mr. Chino, What do you got for us this week?
So first and foremost, let's just kick this off by just saying RIP to arguably one of the greatest baseball players ever, trendsetter, transcended the Negro League, transcended baseball, like a staple in what baseball is today. So RIP to Willie Mays. I think the first topic as part of that is, is Willie Mays the greatest baseball player of all time? Feast or fumble? Who wants to take it first?
Pat, floor is yours on this one.
I got this. I am feasting that Willie Mays is the best baseball player to ever play the game. He's, I think, definitely the best athlete to ever play the game of baseball, and he lost 2 years of service to the military. He's the best center fielder of all time. 660 home runs, nearly 3,300 hits, 338 stolen bases, where he led the league 4 seasons in a row. 12 gold gloves. They didn't even start the award until his 5th season in, so he would have won 17 because he was so far ahead of every other center fielder of his time. He was truly one of the most special players to ever play the game. I'm upset that we never got to watch him live in person, but we're lucky enough to see the videos. It's a shame, RIP. Just truly a legend. I'm feasting. I think he's the best ever. Chris, what do you got?
Yeah, I mean, I would also feast on that. I'm not a super huge baseball guy, but when you think of like iconic baseball players, there's Willie Mays, Jackie Robinson, a few others. He is in the pantheon of greatest players to ever play in their respective sports. You mentioned it, Pat. Having that many hits, that many home runs in an era where like there was no rampant PED usage, and guys played all 100% of the games. Like there were no like off days, and to your point again, missing 2 years due to military service and coming back and still putting up the same level of production, before he left. Probably one of the greatest athletes we've seen play in professional sports. So yeah, feasting on Willie Mays being the GOAT.
2 feasts. I'm not gonna fumble. I'm feasting on it. If we're taking account everything like athleticism, hitting, fielding, all of that stuff, like I said, he did it for a long time. He basically transcended baseball. There's a reason we're at where we're at. I'm feasting on it. You just look at hits wise, over 3,000 hits, batting average over 300, and if in his career, on base percentage almost over 400. Yeah. Well, the Gold Gloves does it as well, right? All-Star every season that he was in the league, has a championship, MVP, batting title. Probably should have more, but obviously back then statistics, aren't where we're at today, right? So taking that into account, yeah, he's the GOAT. We could argue, and I'm just going to throw this out here. Hitting-wise, is he the greatest? Could argue Babe Ruth is the greatest hitter of all time, just statistically. Played during similar eras, and statistically kind of dominates Willie Mays. But again, we're taking into account like everything, like fielding, hitting, all that stuff. But Babe Ruth also pitched, but he hit statistically. He batted 342, which is about .040 over Willie Mays. His on base percentage was almost 500. His slugging percentage was almost 700, and he had an OPS of 1100, which is crazy for career. So yeah, hitting wise, some people could argue like Babe Ruth is the greatest baseball player of all time, but again, we can all agree that we're taking into account everything like fielding, hitting, and all that stuff. So, R.I.P. Willie Mays, the GOAT. It's a good topic. I like it.
93. Right. So he's seen some shit. 93 years old.
Facts. He has seen some shit. Like I said, he was there. He transcended the Negro League. And now, just recently, like you think about it, like MLB made the decision to now include all the statistics from the Negro League. That's huge. And that doesn't just help Willie Mays. That helps a lot of African American baseball players that played at that time, right? I think there was a lot of statistical changes where, like, people weren't the leader in this stat, but now they are because they included those stats. So, again, I think Willie Mays is a big part of that, and that's part of why we're at where we're at. So, R.I.P. Willie.
R.I.P. to GOAT.
Yes. So, keeping it on the baseball theme. Yankees ain't looking too hot. Lost 2 series in a row. Feast or fumble? Is it time to panic in the Bronx? Thoughts?
I mean, I'll go real quick, so we can get to more educated baseball takes. I'm gonna fumble on the Yankees being in trouble. I mean, we all know baseball is a long season. We're, like I was kind of alluding to before, we're getting into the dog days of summer, and it's like, this is where the separation is going to happen. You guys are still on top of the American League. You guys still, I think, have the best record in baseball. You might be slumping a little bit compared to like your hot start, but it's like, again, it's a long season. As long as you guys, I mean, I don't really see you guys. Maybe the Orioles catch you, maybe not, but you guys should still be right there as we get to close to the All-Star break coming up soon. So I'm fumbling on the Yankees being in trouble. It's we'll ask me again in 2 weeks, and then my answer might change.
I like that, Chris. So I'm with you. I believe this is also a fumble. I don't think panic is the right word, but maybe some cause for concern so far, because so far the season has gone so excellently, almost exceeded expectations. Like you said, we still have the best record in baseball, which is excellent, but over the last 10 games, we're 4-6, which is a little tough. We're also hitting .218 with 81 strikeouts over those games, so that's an average of 8 strikeouts per game, which is way too high. Also, we're 2-5 against the Orioles, and the Orioles are the team we have to beat to get to the World Series. So that's the biggest thing. We have to make sure we play better against them, because we can't have this losing record and this idea that maybe the Orioles have our number going into the postseason. So we need to ride some confident baseball into the postseason. It is a long season, Chris. You're completely right. Encouraging factors are going to be Garrett Cole is finally back. And the next start Luis Gil has, we're gonna see that he bounces back. He's just way too good to go into a little rut because of one silly start. So I'm fumbling on the panic, but I agree that the Yankees need to play a little bit better, especially against the O's. What do you got, Sean?
Yeah, we're on the same page. Panic isn't the word, but I definitely think there's a cause for concern. I agree. And I wouldn't say it's around hitting. I think it's more around our pitching. We have, arguably could say that we've had a historical start to a season when it comes to like our bullpen. In the last 15 games, we've been getting knocked around. Our ERA as a team has ballooned up to 5.12, which we were in the twos, right? So I think that pitching changes need to happen in the bullpen. We just DAF'd Gonzalez, and Marciano needs to go back to Tom's River. I'm sorry. I just send that guy out of here. He needs to go. He can't handle it. So I think some changes need to happen in the bullpen. We need to go get some bullpen help sooner than later. And then just hitting wise, yeah, I think we're just going through a slump. Soto said it last night. Like, in order to win the World Series, we're not going to win every single game. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be hard. We're just going through a slump right now. We lost a series to Boston in Boston, and then we just got beat up by Baltimore, which Baltimore is no slouch. Like, they're a good team. And to your point, that's the team that we're going to have to beat. They're coming for us, and we got to stay ahead. I think they're half a game behind us right now. Like, we have a good lead on everyone else. I think Boston, we're 10 games up on Boston. So no cause for panic. This is a tough stretch in our schedule. We had to travel to Boston, come back home to face Baltimore. Now we got to face Atlanta, which we just dropped a game against them. So I think it's just, as Kris mentioned, it's a long season, and this is a stretch of the season where we got a tough schedule, and we gotta bear in and shake it off and move on. I think the biggest stat we need to keep an eye on throughout the season, and we always look at wins and losses, right? Against the East, we're 10-12. Baltimore's 19-7. So we gotta be better against our division opponents. Like, that's it. So yeah, no cause for panic. I'm not feasting on it. It's a fumble, but definitely cause for concern. As I've said to a few of my friends, like, it's win or bust. It's World Series or bust. So Cashman, we need bullpen help, and I'd probably go out and say that I'd love for us to go get a third baseman. I said that at the beginning of the season. Now with Rizzo hurt, what do? I think we move DJ to first, and we go get a solid third baseman, because that's what we should have did in the offseason anyway. We should have got a solid third baseman, but we felt that DJ was going to be it. So I think those are the two moves we need to make, and that'll fix that cause for concern. Get some bullpen help, go get a third baseman that can hit and play the field, and we'll be good.
Yeah, Sean, great point, especially on the AL East record. That will be huge going down the stretch. And the third baseman point, also great. Matt Chapman was hanging around for a little while, and he's an awfully good third baseman, and pretty big stick in the lineup. So it's a little disappointing they couldn't find a way to get him in the lineup, but it'll be intriguing to see the trade deadline and how Brian Cashman approaches it.
I'd love for us to go get Ryan McMahon, to be honest with you. Can play third base, can play second, can play first, has a glove, and he's hitting well. And he's young, 29 years old. He's decently young in baseball years. He's 29 years old. We could get a good couple years out of him if we trade and re-sign. So I say we go get him. His name always comes to my mind when we think of when there's talks about, like, who should we go get infield wise. I wouldn't be opposed to it, and obviously the Rockies they're not good, and how can we help them? How can we help you rebuild and help us win a World Series? So let's go get them. All right, pivoting away from baseball, finish out our segment. J.J. Redick, new head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers. Are we feasting on it, or is it a fumble? Pat, let's start with you, and then we'll go to Kris. Because Kris has got something to say. I can see it on his face.
I don't like this one, guys. I think this is a fumble. I like J.J. Redick. I think he was an excellent basketball analyst. His fit as the Lakers head coach, though, I don't quite see. I think in that locker room, his voice will probably get lost. I think LeBron James is going to be the coach of the Lakers, basically, and kind of like use J.J. Redick as the voice of the team. An aging AD. I don't think J.J. Redick is going to be able to get through to an aging AD. I don't see the fit here. I would much rather see a more experienced basketball coach with a ton of winning in his past. I think that's the only way that it won't turn into a three-ring circus. Because as soon as J.J. Redick starts to lose a few games in a row, LeBron will be saying this, AD will be saying that, and then all of a sudden it'll be J.J. Redick's almost at the door. I think this is a fumble. What do you think, Kris?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I definitely think this is a fumble. I really like J.J. Redick's basketball takes, the way he analyzes game, analyzes players. I don't know if that's going to translate into coaching. Like we've seen, there's been many examples of former players who get opportunities as head coaches and they're just bad. They're not good. Like sometimes it's hard to take your ability to play the game at a high level and translate that into coaching another player to just do what you've done. I mean, JJ was probably known as one of the best just, spot up shooters that we've seen in the last however many years in the league. But we don't know anything about his defense. We don't know anything about schemes that he would run. We don't know anything about, outside of like what he would do in practices for himself to like shoot. I don't know how that's going to translate to other players. And then to your point, Pat, you got a LeBron James in year 21. You got Anthony Davis, two like superstar players that have been playing a long time in this league. And I'm going to listen to a head coach who I played against not that many years ago. Like, are you serious? So, yeah, I definitely think JJ is going to be just a mouthpiece for LeBron James. LeBron wants his son to get drafted by the Lakers so he can play with Bronny. What better way than like bringing a buddy of mine that I've done podcasts with to like say, hey, you should really draft my son, and then I'll handle the rest. I'll handle the team chemistry. I'll handle the roster construction. I'll handle all of that. You just get to like look good and be like, oh, JJ's a genius because the Lakers are winning basketball games. So yeah, this is a fumble. This is like the most blatant like PR scheme I think I've seen in recent memory in the NBA is just to say, all right, LeBron, you could be best player, you could be head coach, you could be GM, and just do what you want to do. Like that's basically what we're doing here.
We're not gonna agree here.
What?
Here's a couple things I'm gonna say first. So, from a Lakers organization standpoint, there've been a lot of comments around JJ being like a Pat Riley esque type coach, Brad Stevens type coach. I don't think that hiring JJ Redick is a fumble because I don't think it was a move for the short term. I think it was a move for the long term. I think that, yeah, he has a relationship with LeBron, but I don't think it has nothing to do with that. I don't think LeBron's going to have a couple more years and then he's done. So I think the Lakers are looking at, like, long term, how can we bring a young coach that understands the game of basketball? Y'all have heard him as an analyst. Like, he understands the game. I think that if he surrounds himself with folks that know the game, he'll be in a good spot. And I just think of like a Steve Kerr. Get a staff around you that knows the game, that can help you. I think of yes, it's not his first time, but like I think of Jason Kidd in Dallas. Like he has a strong staff around him. I think if JJ can do that, build around him, build a strong coaching staff. Show up with confidence. Yes, that is a risk. He could show up and people be like, "Oh, I just played with you," or "Hey, you're young. I don't know." But again, I think this is a long-term play and not a short-term play. I don't think they're looking at it like we're gonna hire JJ and we're gonna win now. I don't think the Lakers organization is thinking that way right now. So I'm initially gonna say I'm fumbling. I'm feasting on the fact that they hired JJ rather than going after a big name like a Monty. Because he had no success in Detroit, right? So that's my thoughts initially. I have to see more.
Okay, I have like I see
That's
Pat.
where I'm at. Listen,
Pat wants to jump in.
I'm here. Yeah.
Pat, you want to?
I'm down with it.
Pat, you want to jump in first because I have some stuff that I might go on for a minute about.
Just the Brad Stevens comparison. Brad Stevens was an accomplished coach, wasn't he?
Yes.
In college.
In college.
Yeah, okay, but still, I mean, he had like the experience of actually coaching. I don't know that Redick has done anything like that. And then Jason Kidd was a, no offense to JJ Redick, but in my opinion, a much more special player than JJ Redick, and he kind of like ran the offense in that complete team at times. You always saw that Jason Kidd was mentally steps ahead of everyone else on the court, and that's why I think he's going to be so successful. JJ, like, very talented basketball player, excellent at shooting the three, but that's it. So I just need to see more. I need to honestly learn more about his philosophy and the kind of offense he runs, just like you said, Chris. So I'm very, very hesitant to feast on this just because of those things. Chris, what do you got?
Yeah. So okay. Pat brought up a very good point here. Jason Kidd was probably, I don't know, arguably a top 5 point guard as a player all time. Okay, you can go down the list. There's not that many more point guards I would have over him. That's one. Two, he sat on a bench as an assistant coach for a number of years prior to becoming a head coach. Three, he was a head coach in Milwaukee before he became a head coach in Dallas. So he has multiple years of head coaching experience. So it's not even a apples to oranges comparison. You even threw Steve Kerr's name out there. Steve Kerr took over a team that was championship viable after Mark Jackson and showed that he could run an offense but he already had a team in place that was ready to compete. Okay, you're gonna take JJ Redick, who to this point really hasn't shown that he has any type of coaching experience whatsoever, outside of he's a very analytics driven sports analyst and can break down X's and O's when it comes to individual players and schemes when they're playing against other players. I mean, I would still give Steve Kerr a nod over JJ as coming in as a first-time head coach, because he basically played in 2 championship systems, being Phil Jackson's and Greg Popovich's. So he's already had that kind of cachet to say, okay, he understands very complex NBA systems that he can implement into what he ended up doing in the Warriors, and he was going on to have success. So I don't know. I'm kind of in the same boat as Pat. I have not seen enough to say, all right, I'm feasting on this. Outside of the things that I just pointed to, the obvious connections to LeBron and some of the more salacious takes surrounding the hiring. So that's pretty much where I'm at.
And again, I'm here, so I'm cautiously optimistic, and I'm not thinking short term. I'm thinking long term. They've had a lot of coaching changes since Phil Jackson. They need some stability, and I think that this is their attempt to gain that stability. But again, I think it comes down to who JJ surrounds himself with. Rob Pelinka he's great. And he's not going to lean on JJ to decide who he brings in. He's gonna lean on his own skills, and he understands that the West is going to be tough. So I think what needs to happen right now is the Lakers need to take it slow, just go through a little mini rebuild. I think JJ, yes, he was a great 3-point shooter, but he's a very high IQ player too. You can tell when he speaks about the game offensively and defensively, he understands schemes. He has a passion for the game. He's mentally and physically tough. What he has gone through as a player, it is tough. And again, he played for Coach K, so I'm sure he's going to lean on him in some way from maybe an advisor standpoint. I'm just putting that out there. And I just think that I'm not fumbling on it because I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's bad. I just think there's some gray. And that's why I said I'm cautiously optimistic. I think there could be potential here. It just depends on what happens next. So, if the Lakers want to win next season, I don't think this was a good hire. But if the Lakers are trying to build something because LeBron James is not going to be here forever, this is not a bad move. compared to what some other teams have done. It's better than Darvin Ham. Would you prefer Darvin Ham?
No.
And then here's the other thing. You think of, and we didn't mention this name, we think of former players that are kind of having some success. What about Tyronn Lue? He wasn't a great basketball player.
I think the right move would have been prying Dan Hurley away from UConn.
Yeah, they dropped the bag on that. Mm-hmm. They didn't want to pay him.
Well, yeah, because
they didn't want to pay him. So yeah, that would have been gold. Mm-hmm. That would have been like, I would say Steve Kerr hire. Like, I think he would have came in and they would have won immediately.
Yeah, but that's
for a long time.
But that's also a move that shows that, okay, we're thinking post LeBron success because we're bringing in a coach that will implement basketball moves for like future longevity. Whereas like a JJ hire, I don't know, to me just seems like it's very much like, all right, if we're just god awful and terrible, we have a scapegoat and just say, all right, we hired a first year coach that doesn't really have like a huge amount of coaching experience, versus like if you get somebody with like cachet and like a lot of basketball experience and it goes wrong, then you're kind of like stuck. You're saying like, all right, well, we paid this guy all this money, so we'll give it a year or two and see what happens. And again, Ty Lue also played in Phil Jackson's system. Was also an assistant coach for a long time before he got a head coaching opportunity. So again, it's not the same comparison. I would compare this more to like the Steve Nash hiring as a head coach. Somebody
Nash was terrible.
He was terrible, but everybody assumes like, oh well, he played point guard for so many years in D'Antoni's system. He could implement that as a head coach.
I don't like that. I don't agree with that because I think JJ's just higher IQ. Like, he understands the game of basketball. Like, Steve Nash was a great player, but that was it. Like, I don't think Steve Nash understood the X's and O's of basketball.
He's
a student of the game.
What I'm referring to is strictly just the hiring. So, like, taking a player who doesn't necessarily have a history of coaching, whether it be like an assistant coach or whatever, coaching AAU or whatever. I don't know. Just someone who was not a coach previously and just hiring them as a head coach, like straight away. And I think it's similar because Nash, you're thinking like, oh yeah, he's, great point guard when he played. He's just he would be good as a coach because the assumption is that point guards make great coaches. I think the idea here is because of what you're saying. JJ is very affluent. He speaks well, and he's able to talk about the X's and O's of basketball. You assume that's going to translate into being a good coach. That's all I'm saying.
I just think, I hear you, and that's why I said again, I'm cautiously optimistic about it. That's why I can't fumble it because I don't like disagree with the hire. Mm-hmm. Like, do I 100% agree with it? No. Can I see the vision of what it could possibly be? Yeah. Mm-hmm. And again, just hearing. It's kind of like I think of like last thing I'll say is like I think of like Tony Romo when we watch him analyze games. I feel like I get the same thing when I listen to JJ Redick talk about the game. Like, he understands X's and O's. He sees things. Even though he wasn't the best player of all time, he understands it, and that's why I say he has high basketball IQ. You don't have to be a great basketball player to have high basketball IQ. Like, he studies film. He's in the like he's there. So I think that's where I'm good with that hire. Like, I'm good with that because if he can understand X's and O's, if he can surround himself with coaches that have more experience in the NBA coaching, I think it could be a good thing. And that's all I'm saying. Like, that's why I say I don't fumble it because I don't disagree with it, but I could see it being something good. Could it crash and burn? Yeah. Yes, and the Lakers have a scapegoat. Yeah, we hired a first-year head coach. Cool. We took a shot. Cool. Now LeBron's gone, and now we move on. Now we do our rebuild like we wanted to do.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it's definitely obvious that he has an advanced view and opinion of basketball just as a whole. Just he understands it like much more than most people. If he could figure out a way to use LeBron and AD as resources rather than them just speaking through him and learn from them, absolutely, then there's an opportunity for the future, especially in the post-LeBron years.
Yeah, 100%. So, optimistic about it.
All right.
I think that finishes our segment.
Yeah.
And now
We got best bets. Patty
let's
Putz.
finish us off with some money.
What do you got?
Alrighty, guys. So, hopefully everybody's been watching the NHL playoffs. I know we don't really touch too much on it, but there's something very, very significant happening right now. The Florida Panthers and the Edmonton Oilers are going to Game 7. The Panthers won the first 3 games. The Oilers were down 3-0, and now it's tied 3-3. So keep an eye on this game. Only one team in NHL history has come back from a 3-0 deficit. It was the Toronto Maple Leafs in the year 1942 against the Red Wings. Guess what? It's going to happen again, guys. Monday night, it's going to happen again. All right, so first off, lock of this game, Evan Rodriguez over 1.5 shots on goal. He has hit 8 of his last 10. He's skating extremely well. His line mates are putting him in position to succeed. I think he's going to have 3+ shots. Number 2, I'm going to go with Connor McDavid over 1.5 points. I'm of the opinion that Connor McDavid is the best player in the NHL. In the Stanley Cup playoffs, the best player in the NHL will step up when the game is on the line. Connor McDavid over 1.5 points. And finally, I'm going to parlay all 3 of these with Edmonton Oilers money line. So once again, lock of the day, Evan Rodriguez over 1.5 shots on goal. Connor McDavid over 1.5 points. And I'm going to bet the Edmonton Oilers money line. So the Oilers will win the Stanley Cup on Monday night.
Nice.
That's listen. I've been looking at it. I'm like, are they really about to come back here? About to come back 3-0?
Unreal.
It's unreal. Yeah, McDavid is solid as a player.
Yeah, special. Yeah.
So we're talking Evan Rodriguez 2 shots, McDavid 2 points, and Oilers to win.
Mm-hmm. What kind of odds you got there, Sean?
For all 3?
Yeah.
Plus 277.
Okay, that's nice.
Can we make it juicier?
Money line.
Definitely can.
Can we make it juicier?
I like it.
McDavid 4 shots.
So 4 shots. He has hit quite a few times. But
Just saying.
Only once in the last 5 games, though.
About 3. Oilers are about to win this.
Here we go.
They about to win this thing.
All right.
I'm
Good
winning.
stuff. Final thoughts, gentlemen. Mr. Chino, what are you thinking? What are you looking forward to this weekend?
Nothing crazy. Looking for maybe the Yankees to kind of jump back and take a game from Atlanta today. We'll see what it looks like. I think at the end of the day, I know, again, I said earlier, Soto basically said it point blank. Like, we're grown men. Like, these are stretches that are going to happen. We're going to have ups and downs in the season. We are still technically standing-wise the best team in baseball. I still think we are the best team in baseball. So we're going through a little rut here, and I think we turn it around today. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
Pat, how about you?
Definitely looking forward to Monday night, first off. Some history might be made Monday night in the NHL playoffs, so I hope that does happen. Also, just like Sean said, looking for the Yankees to get back on track. Couple big games against the Braves this weekend, and then we start a series against the Mets, who are playing, unfortunately, extremely well right now. So the Yankees have to get back on their horse and start playing winning baseball again. And, it'll start with the top of the lineup, Volpe, Soto, Judge. I think they're going to continue to mash, and that's how they're going to kind of find their way through this. But one last point, NBA draft coming up, guys. The Knicks have, the 24th? What pick, Sean?
24th, 25th, and 38th?
38. I do not expect them to use all three of those picks, so maybe the Knicks make a splash on draft night. What do you got, Chris?
Yeah, it's definitely NBA for me. Definitely looking forward to the draft. I want to see like where the Knicks end up if we end up making any moves. We talked the whole podcast about potential moves that we could be making. So yeah, that's top of the list for me. Some baseball, casual baseball fan. I'm trying to get to your guys' level. Just watching games when I can, but there's just so many of them, and it's daunting. This is definitely like sports hibernation for me, because none of my favorite sports are on TV. But I will be watching the Stanley Cup Finals. I'm putting this bet in as soon as we're done. See if I can make some money. So keep the best bets coming, Pat. That's going to get me through the summer. So I think that wraps us for this next episode. Remember, like, share, subscribe. It boosts us up in the algorithm. We greatly appreciate it. For Mr. Chino, Patty Putz, I'm the real Kris Mac. This is Feast or Fumble, and we'll catch you on the next episode. Peace.